Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Mufti. Now, because tea is something that I love so much, I'm so obsessed and infatuated with the drink, I want to share this information, this love, this passion, the theory and the practice of tea and teaism with each and every one of you guys, inshallah ta'ala. So in this video, in this session, before we get into the practical, hands-on, sleeves, abayas and thobes rolled up on making tea, preparing tea, serving tea. Right now we're just laying down the foundations and we're laying down the basis of our proper understanding, our purity of philosophy with regards to tea and teaism. 3 things to avoid, 3 sins, 3 mistakes that you must avoid if you want to enjoy a good cup of loose leaf tea. Fine tea, high quality tea. 3 things that most beginners who are making a conversion from tea bags to loose leaf, mediocre quality, which is, not the worst, but not the best, to high grade, fine quality loose leaf tea. Let alone someone that just jumps into the wide world of loose leaf tea with no previous tea experience. 3 things to avoid. Number 1, the improper amount of tea. Number 2 is the improper temperature. Too hot, too cold for steeping, for brewing, for infusing. And number 3 is the improper time that you allow the tea leaves to sit in the water and you awaiting the tea liquor, the actual tea that you're going to drink. It's called liquor, tea liquor. All right, so number 1 is the improper amount. Too much tea, too little tea for this cup or pot, for this amount that you're trying to drink and serve. It's too much. The leaves, not enough or too much. Number 2, the water is scalding hot when it should only be at a boil. The water is at a boil or has reached a boil when it's only supposed to be 10-15 degrees before boiling, etc. Water is too hot, or this type of tea, what you plan on doing with the tea, the water isn't hot enough to take all of the flavor out of the leaves. And last but not least, instead of allowing the tea leaves to sit there for 2 minutes, you only allowed it to steep for 30 seconds. And the tea is bland, or it's lacking flavor, lacking body, lacking texture. Or someone who's more advanced, he says, well, I paid good money for this type of tea right now, and this is directly from Fujian province from China. This oolong is supposed to have layers and depths of flavor, and it tastes bland, it tastes simple, because you didn't allow it to steep long enough. Or the tea is bitter, the tea is highly overly astringent because you let it steep too long. All right, so once more, amount of tea, temperature of the water, time for steeping. So we have a teaspoon, we have a tablespoon, we have a gram, we have an ounce, right? We have a smudge or a pinch, right? A handful, right? A healthy scoop. Now, okay? So whatever tea that you're making, the first thing is that you need to make sure, in order that you enjoy a successful tea experience, a successful cup of tea, is the amount of tea. Now, and obviously there are different recipes out there. There are tons of websites, let alone at your local tea shop. Oftentimes when you buy the bag or you buy the pouch or the tin, whatever the case may be, they'll have instructions, all right, for a 6-ounce cup or an 8-ounce cup. And of course the metric system versus give or take what the people use depending on where you live in the United States versus the rest of the world, or for sure most of the rest of the world. So grams, ounces, liters, milliliters, quarts, pints, so on and so forth. So whatever tea that you're trying to prepare, make sure that you get the direct knowledge from the tea master, from the tea seller, from online, from a reliable book, a good source telling you for a 6-ounce cup, for an 8-ounce cup, for a pot, this is how much tea you need to be scooping and placing for it to be before it to steep with the hot water. That's first and foremost. And of course, every tea is different. Some teas are very strong, very potent, very powerful. The finer the tea, the higher the quality of the tea is, the less tea you're going to need. Okay. Secondly is the water temperature. You can't just boil water on a stove, an electric stove, a gas stove, an electric kettle. You can't just, turn on the fire and then that's it. And think I'm going to make green tea, white tea, pu'er tea, oolong tea. I'm going to make all of it the same. Rather, one class of tea has different strands from different countries, different types. This is the first flush from the spring, the first tea that was picked. This is later on. This is a dark tea, a black tea. All right, this is a lighter tea. Okay, this is a scented tea, so on and so forth. So every tea has its own personality, just like people, just like human beings. And you can never ever make blanket statements or broad brush everyone's like this, good or bad, good or bad. So every tea, and obviously you're going to get this information, like I said, from your local tea master or your tea shop or online or on the back of the package, right? Someone who has knowledge and experience and someone that's trustworthy, they're going to tell you that this water needs to be brought to a sharp boil, a roaring boil. This tea right here, you just need to have little small tiny drops from the bottom of the pot or the glass up to the top. And that's how you know that the water's hot enough. Use a thermometer, a chef's thermometer, right? You put it in the water, 180, 170, 165, etc. Last but not least is the steeping time. Some teas, you want the full power, the full-fledged taste of the tea, so you want to give it a good amount of time for the leaves to expand, all right? And all of that flavor and all of those juices to leave the leaves and enter into your water, which becomes the tea liquor, all right? So some teas need 2 minutes, some 3 minutes. Some people, they allow their tea to steep for 5 minutes. Some people, they want it light, 30 seconds, 20 seconds. These are things that you yourself are going to have to determine with regards to learning the form, but seeking the formless. Learning that which is written, that which the tea masters say, that which is explained, but you yourself have to make your own experience, your own journey. And this is why you should have a tea journal. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll have videos on that. Where to get a good tea journal from, what to put in your tea journal, what type of tea, where you bought it from, when did you buy it, do you plan on storing it, do you plan on aging it, what was useful, milk, agave, all right, lemon, what ginger, whatever you put in your milk, whatever you like, nothing, etc. You're going to write down all of that, and as time goes on, you gain more experience. You know what works, what doesn't work, and you know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So therefore, good loose leaf tea cannot be treated like a tea bag. It cannot be treated like basic, simple loose leaf tea. Good stuff that you pay good money for, because it's not going to be cheap. Just like clothes. And if you pay attention, the more expensive the clothes, the higher the quality of the clothes, because some things are overpriced. So we're talking about good, fine quality, and it costs, right? It's always going to give you instructions on how to care for it. What temperature to use in the washing machine. Never ever dry this in the machine. It has to be dried. You have to hang it up. Air dried. This needs to go to the dry cleaners and never ever put into a washing machine. And if you say, oh, it ain't that deep, it's not that serious, I'm not wasting my time, it's just a shirt, no problem, but you're not going to get the full experience from the shirt. And the shirt may fade prematurely. The shirt may shrink prematurely. The shirt may become loose or lame, right? It may rip or tear. And that's because you didn't follow the instructions of the maker of the shirt. They told you only use cold water. Never wash it with colors. Never use bleach. Never use a harsh detergent. Rather, this article of clothing is only to be washed by hand. All right? An automobile. The finer your automobile, the better quality and the higher quality of gasoline you're going to want to put in your automobile. Now, obviously, the basic, simple, entry-level gas is the cheapest. High gas prices, this war, this invasion, whatever the case may be, these people are blowing up this pipeline, this gas line, so on and so forth. Gas is a lot. It costs a lot of money. But if you want your car to run and run well and run strongly, and if you want it to run for a good time, and you want it to be reliable and dependable, and you want to get the most horsepower out of that engine, you have to listen to the people who made the car. And they're telling you only use high quality, high octane in this automobile. Spend the extra $20, spend the extra $30. It's better for your car, short term and long term. And if you ignore that, and there are many other examples and analogies or parables that we can make for you to get the point, all right? So in brief, inshallah ta'ala, the amount of tea, the temperature of the water, and how long you allow it to steep. These are the 3 deadly sins to avoid and to stay away from. And obviously using the proper amount of tea, the proper temperature of the water, and the proper steeping time, inshallah ta'ala, will lead to a successful tea experience and a great, delicious cup of tea. Thanks a lot for watching. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.